What's up everyone? Alex here. Widely considered as the progenitor of modern superhero action games, Spider-Man for PS1, later ported to the N64 and Dreamcast, successfully blended fun gameplay with the kinds of stories you can tell with superhero franchises. In fact, after deciding to go back and playing the game, it actually made me realize how much of the ideas present in this could have inspired the design of Spider-Man PS4. Maybe that's just personal bias, given that I did work on this game. And by the way, here's my name in the credits. But after 18 years, and becoming very much detached from the time I saw the game as work, I'd like to share some of my favorite things about it. So here's 7 things that I like about Spider-Man PS1. Number 1. Stan Lee's narrations. Before modern Marvel movies involved Stan Lee in cameos, Spider-Man PS1 had narrations from the man himself. There's nothing quite like hearing Stan Lee introduce each of the 6 chapters in the game. When viewing characters in the gallery, he even reads the descriptions for each. The kind of excitement he brings to the game sets the stage for a fun-filled several hours of solid gameplay.
Welcome, true believers and newcomers alike. Spider-Man co-creator Stan Lee here.
Number 2. What If Mode. Originally planned to be part of a contest later in the game's life, What If Mode features numerous visual differences that would appear during gameplay, including the appearance of the Watcher, who oversees the Marvel alternate universes and whose comic is the namesake of this mode. The contest would have asked players to compile a complete list of oddities that have appeared upon entering the code and playing through the entire game. And the winner, well, let's just say that some site figured out the code well before we could even figure out what the prize was. Such a shame. Number 3. The mission design. The variety of missions in Spider-Man PS1 was unparalleled compared to most superhero offerings in the genre, and it even took a while for other developers to even see why this approach worked. The game featured a chase sequence with Venom, some tense platforming, and boss battles that echoed the battles of yesteryear. And while the moment-to-moment story might feel dated by comparison, each of the missions really stood out on their own. Number 4. Collectibles. While not as numerous as modern games, the collectibles in Spider-Man PS1 were comic books that you can find strewn about each of the levels. After picking them up, you can view these comic books in the gallery mode in the game, and you'll find that each comic book actually has a description of what that issue was all about. No other superhero game prior made each individual collectible meaningful after you've collected them, helping further the idea that the game was way ahead of its time. Number 5. The Censor. Since Spider-Man for PS1 included a kid mode, which wasn't made to make fun of people who play the games on easy, by the way, what culture, we decided that it'd be good if we applied some sort of way to prevent people from naming their save files using expletives. So, Neversoft implemented a censor mechanic to name inputs that has Spider-Man punching the expletive and changing them into friendlier words. It's a hilarious effect, and I've seen a few writers here and there write about how this exists and are ultimately surprised by it. You're welcome, by the way. Number 6. The Web Yank. Spider-Man has multiple moves in this game, but my absolute favorite has to be the Web Yank. Activated by pressing down and triangle, you can do this move almost anywhere. One of my favorite ways to utilize this move is when you're on the ceiling of a room, preferably during a stealth section, and just yanking bad guys left and right. It's hilarious to see the bad guys just getting thrown from one end of the room to the other, and I utilize this move every time I'm able. Number 7. An original story. While it's not meant to be taken seriously, the story of Spider-Man PS1 doesn't pretend that it had any ties to the comics or the cartoons. It's because of this that Neversoft was able to craft a story that allowed them to characterize Spider-Man and his enemies in a zany and kid-friendly light. If they were hampered by limitations on how they could convey the characters, we might have gotten a game with a completely different feel. But the story comes across as a wild romp through Spidey's rogues gallery, and a good excuse to even craft unique stories not found in any other media. It's crazy to realize how much Spider-Man PS1 has influenced many superhero games after. Granted, playing it didn't feel as good as remembering what it did, but it's still worth noting its successes. Even though it's been years, I still feel a sense of ownership when it comes to Spider-Man games that came after, and with the latest Spider-Man for the PS4 being praised for its many accomplishments, I can safely say that the series is in good hands. But enough about me, I want to hear what you think. Have you played Spider-Man PS1? What were your memories playing this game? Or was this in your backlog this whole time? Post your reply in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel, then hit that bell icon to be notified of my latest videos. Lastly, follow me on Twitter at MyBacklogBattle for updates on upcoming videos, or if you just want to chat about video games. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful gaming week.